Well, what a debacle today in the House speakership vote. Of course, the vote is dead. It was looking pretty good there, and well, only two of the six, original squad members. I mean, the four plus Bowman and Cori Bush. I guess who was it? Cori Bush and AOC withheld their vote first round. Barbara Lee and Hakeem Jeffries and a few others. And there was a glimmer of hope, that there was some backroom dealing going on about force the vote, getting Medicare for all on the floor, pressuring Pelosi. But alas, none of that. Everybody voted for Pelosi, AOC, all the fraud squad they're being called now members, and here we are. And I got thinking about it, and I realized my definition of corporatist yesterday. Well, I don't think it's too broad. I think because we're all corporatists. When you think of it, we all serve the interests of the corporations, and almost none of us have the freedom of choice not to. There's a few of us that might. Certainly independently wealthy people probably don't have to serve the interests of big corporations. Independent media clearly doesn't seem to have to, like on YouTube, right? I'm not talking about official media. Like NPR is, like Stockholm syndrome, like captured company. I was having a discussion with my wife yesterday about Medicare for all, and I talked about other countries, and she said, "Well, I heard a story about Canadian healthcare, and people are coming down." I said, "Where'd you hear that story? Like Fox News?" She says, "No, on NPR." I'm like, "Do you know who the top funders of NPR are?" NPR basically was starved by the political process for funds. Supposed to be funded by us, the people's station. Instead, both parties starved it. So what did they do? They went begging to big pharma, the health insurance industry, oil and gas, and So guess what? They can't run a positive story on Medicare for all or Bernie or anything like that, even though they're really smart and quote unquote liberal people. They're captured. They're occupied. Basically, America is an occupied country. I said, yesterday the corporations have been at war for us for 20 years. They occupy America. They employ us. They fund all the media. They fund the politicians. There's almost no place, any of us, any human has the ability to just be a person and not serve the interests of the corporation. So in some ways, my definition of corporatist yesterday, which I'll still stick, any of us that actually serve the interests of the corporations, we are all of us corporatists, one way or another. So maybe the interesting definition isn't corporatist in 2021, because unless you're living in a cabin in the woods and hunting your food, how can you not serve the interests of the big corporations? So, I think it's going to have to be a definition of a person that we come up with, like an independent person. And then, what independence we can carve out in occupied America. And I don't have one right now, but just to say, if I think of it that way, I guess I don't feel as bad about the quote unquote betrayal of the fraud squad and AOC and Ilhan Omar and all that. I'm not mad at them. I feel sad. They're like NPR. They're prisoners. They're prisoners just like you and me. So I still come back to it. Our nonviolent options are a new political party, MPP, Movement for People's Party, and BDS, that maybe we can do in an organized way, the corporations. Beyond that, I don't know. Sad day. Let's press on.